Good Monday morning, friends. December 8th, and we are off to the races. I've got my microphone in my face right now. Hey, how's it going, guys? Happy Monday. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. Let me go ahead and zoom this camera out just a little bit. There we go. Hope the sound is good. Let's go ahead and let's go live on. Hold on. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Now we're going live on Instagram. Good morning, Facebook friends. All right, guys. Hey, let's have some fun today. I'm a little behind on my posting with, I had some crazy travels. Good morning, Sarah Wilson. Good to see you. You're the very first one on here on Facebook. What up, Cassie? Yo, what up, Instagram? I see my man, James Guthrie. I see Kate Whitehead. Good morning, Kate in San Antonio. And I see Walt Warner. Good morning. What up, Lisa Duffy? And there's Kim Cox. We got the collective in the house. Always good to see my collective friends in here. We got the fam rolling strong. And I hope you guys are enjoying. We did a pretty solid meal prep yesterday. Classic. We actually did tapioca pudding. I don't know if you guys have tried the high protein tapioca pudding yet, but if that's your jam, I mean, it's mine. I absolutely love it. Insane. We did Tex-Mex chicken enchiladas. Kate was there, so we're repping some San Antonio for you. We also did some pepper jack egg white bites, which are just incredible because it's 57 calories a pop, 7 grams of protein per bite. Super easy. I mean, super low in calories, especially compared to Starbucks, and a fraction of the price. And instead of getting 2, you can make like 24 of them. So for probably close to the same price. And I'm not kidding you. It takes like 30 seconds to make it. Like you literally blend it up, throw it in these little cupcake pans, and then bake them for 20 minutes. And then you can do 24 of them. So it's a massive win. And we did this peppermint ice cream, and it was awesome, guys. I messed up, by the way. I messed up yesterday in our meal prep, and I got back from my travels from El Salvador, and I was so busy running around, I forgot to freeze my protein ice cream overnight. And so I got to it way too late. It was not frozen by the time I started meal prep. And so I had my good friend Sarah Wilson took us home on that one. She had already frozen it in advance. And so she made the most delicious looking peppermint ice cream with Oreo crumbles and candy cane chips on it. So, oh, and by the way, they also, the folks in the collective, I got to brag on them for a second. They came up with the way they're making this protein ice cream, pint of ice cream with either 40 to 50 grams of protein in it. It's sitting around 320, 330 calories. If you ever try to eat a pint of ice cream, especially with that much protein in it, it's a chore. But isn't that wonderful? Isn't that the point? It's so awesome. So, all right, I'm going to say hi to a few more people that are jumping in here. What up, Kim Griggs? I see Christina Logry. Good morning, winner. She won the Deliciously Fit book in the Kept app last week. What up, Trina? What up, Jeannie? I see BJ. The whole crew's here. This is awesome. All right. I'm going to head over here to Instagram. What's up, Lorene in Utah? Hello, R. Ledger. Dialing in from Almaty. I think that's how you say it, Almaty. Good morning, Colorado. Deanna. Good morning, Iris. Good morning, Jan Cortez. Good old sunny Arizona. Yes, it is. I'm looking outside right now. It's a beautiful day. Yo, Mama Kathy. Guys, Mama Kathy from season 4 is here. What's up, my friend? We had a heck of a year together. Mom and her son, Josh. I hope you guys remember their episode. It was incredible. And we went to Tahiti together. It was a blast. And we had Ryan Lochte. The Olympic swimmer, Ryan Lochte? He was there as well with us. It was a ton of fun. What up, Tropical Storm 808? Good to see you here, my friend. Kim, your husband gets a TSA pat down every time. Yep, guys, I got the business, especially heading out. Note to self. Here's the thing, but I must say, I don't know if you guys saw my post this morning. I storied about it a few days ago when it actually happened. I was heading down to El Salvador, and I had a bunch of my protein powders with me, right? I had my protein, I had powders galore. protein powder, hydration powder, boost powder, creatine, psyllium fiber husk, and pre-workout. So, I mean, I literally had a menu of powders with me. And of all of them, the protein powder alarmed the systems. First of all, don't be scared to travel with your powders. They make traveling and hitting your targets really, really easy and convenient. I'm telling you guys, powders are like, they're such a beautiful way to go, especially, if you've had a bariatric surgery, using a GLP-1 medication, just because it's difficult to eat. And so it's one of the easiest ways that you can get the protein that you really need. So don't be scared to fly with them, please. But one of the easiest ways to make it through TSA is you just keep this in mind. Don't keep it in your bag. If you keep it in your bag, then it's a whole thing where they make you take it out. They swab the whole thing down, blah, blah, blah. Take them out of your bag, put them in the bin, in a separate bin. They'll thank you for it. They're wonderful. They'll thank you for it. They have to do a quick test on it just to make sure it doesn't alarm for, explosives, which is what they're looking for. And then they'll let you go. I've been doing this for 20 years. 20 since they implemented it in like 2000, late 2002. So almost 24, 23 years I've been doing this. I might have been patted down, like thoroughly patted down, maybe 4 times. And and just this last week was one of them. Not only did I alarm once, I alarmed twice, because after the first pat down, they swab your clothes and everything. They're like, your pants just alarmed. Of all things, my pants alarmed. So I got the real business. So Vanessa says, can the powders be open, or do they have to be sealed to travel with? No. They can be open. And if there's a lot of times, if they're sealed, they won't even swab them. They don't even touch them. If they're open powders, then they'll swab them. So yeah, don't be scared of that at all. And by the way, the TSA agents, they're just doing their job. And so if you can actually have a sense of humor with them and make it enjoyable, everyone can get a good laugh out of it, and everyone can go on their way and no harm done. It just gets to be obviously they say get to security a little early just in case. And, it might have taken an extra 20 minutes out of my travel time. It's fine. I was still had plenty of time. But yes. So Cassie, I keep my powders in my backpack. I just keep them in my carry-on. And then the moment I get to security, I just, take your computer out. And while I'm taking my computer out, I simply take my powders out and I just put them in a clear bag. You can have them all in a clear bag and just put them right there. I don't, because I've just been through this grind so many times. So I know exactly where they are, and I pull them all out and I put them in a separate bin. No problem at all. It really isn't. So don't let it scare you at all by any stretch of the imagination. And if you're on the weight loss journey and powders are a regular part of your life, travel with them. Put them in your carry-on, but just put them in a clear bag. And that way you can grab them quickly and pull them out at security, and you'll be just fine. Here we go. Yovalicious, wondering which brand of walking pad you use. All right, go to Amazon, and the very first one that should pop up, which is the bestseller overall pick, it's called Sperax, Sperax. I don't know if it's the best one out there, but it's for the price, which is $150. Maybe, I know it was $150 on Black Friday, might be $170 or something right now, but they have several different versions of it in there. And so mine is a version of the Sperax, and I just get it because the price is right. But you can find walking pads, from $150 up to a couple $1,000s. They've got some really fancy ones. There's a company called Walking Pad. Go to walkingpad.com and you can see some really high-end ones. They're gorgeous. But no joke, Walking Pad is I've already clocked 3,000 or 4,000 steps today, because I start my meetings around 8. And I sit down to do this, and then I raise my desk and I walk again. And I'm not kidding you. It has just worked wonders for my mental clarity while I work. Couple pointers that I'm going to give you guys when you're using your walking pad. Don't walk fast. That's one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was when I first got my walking pad. I thought I had to walk at a 2.0 because I thought I had to clock a lot of steps. No. In fact, when I was walking fast, I didn't walk as much, because it's hard to think while you're walking fast. And also you're focused more on balance. I always keep one hand on my desk. So always keep one hand on the desk while I'm walking. And that way I can balance and I can stay right in the middle of the walking pad. But then when I dialed it back, when I slowed it down to like 1.1, 1.2, you move a lot slower, but you keep moving. And you move so slow that your mind can think and you can focus on other things. And you completely detach from the movement. And Hours fly by and you still keep moving. That was the best thing I could have ever done, is slow it down. And once I started slowing it down, I started clocking 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 steps in a day, because I just keep moving while I'm in my meetings and I'm on my screens and I'm going. So just keep that in mind when you guys are on your walking pad. Don't think you got to crank it up, because if you crank it up, again, you can't think. Sometimes it, like, balance becomes a thing. So slow it down. Michael Bullard says the airport video is hilarious. Did I enjoy the colonoscopy? Pretty much. That's kind of what it was like. It was the most thorough pat down I've ever had. They switched out guys halfway through, and I got the real business on the second one. But again, as I was saying, they had a sense of humor about it. Everyone was chuckling, so everything was all good. We had a blast with it. Awesome. Kim makes the egg white bites every week. Fantastic. They're probably the easiest thing, and I just keep them in a little Tupperware container in the fridge. Whenever you're ready, throw them in the microwave, heat them up for 30 seconds, or not even that, 15 seconds, and then throw them down. They're so awesome. Lisa says that wasn't a pat down, it was a third date. Pretty much. But there was no cuddling afterward. We didn't exchange numbers, nothing like that, which is actually sometimes the never mind. Kidding, of course. And Kate says, I'm moving my neck better. Yes. Isn't that something, guys? So the injury was 5 weeks ago on Saturday, and my neck has gotten significantly better. I think it's a combination of constantly, I stretch it every single day. I'm also using percussion therapy on my back and my neck, right? So it's like vibration to get a lot of blood flow into the area, along with peptides. I am using BPC 157. It's a combination of BPC 157 and TB 500. And that is, again, the literature seems to show some pretty amazing stuff about these peptides and their ability to heal. BPC 157 increases your angiogenesis. So it actually, your body builds more blood vessels. It targets the inflammatory area because it finds where the cytokines are being released, which is in where the muscles are torn. And it actually targets those areas, builds more blood vessels to supply more blood and nutrients and oxygen to the area. And then the TB500, it actually helps. It brings into the supplies to help rebuild it. So that, along with KPV, it's a combination of BPC 157, TB500, and then it's also blended with something called KPV, which basically it's a signaling peptide to your immune system to reduce the inflammation, because the immune system says, oh, attack it, because it's, but it says, hey, no, calm down the troops. So it actually suppresses the inflammation in the area. And then GHKCU, which is amazing it stimulates collagen. It's great for skin, hair, and nails. And I'm trimming my nails like every week and a half now. It's pretty crazy. So I think a combination of all of them is really helping with the recovery. So I'm really excited about all these peptides, and I know you guys are seeing them everywhere. They're everywhere right now online with, but I think we're heading in the right direction with them, which is really cool. Just be careful out there, because there's a black market for them already, and there's a lot of fake stuff. And so just be super careful with what you're getting. You're always going to want to go through, when it comes to your peptides, if you are interested in them, always find pharmacies they're called 503A pharmacies. And so they're going to be, they follow strict rules for human use. And so that's going to be really important that you find pharmacies that are 503A pharmacies. So, okay, here we go. Gosh, guys, we jumped right into the questions. And so maybe we just keep going with these questions, because you guys are on fire with this. Okay, let me see. I'm jumping over here to Insta. Yo, hold on really quick. Yeah, Steph, I'm with you. Percussion therapy is a game changer. In fact, for the longest time, it was I tore a muscle in my back, right? And it's around the compression fractures. And for the longest time, that was probably one of the most pesky parts about this whole thing, is that muscle did not want to heal. And then for about the first 2 to 3 weeks, I wasn't doing percussion therapy. I started percussion therapy about 2 weeks ago. It has healed exponentially faster. I think the combination of that, because it gets more blood to rush to the area. So with combination of that, with the peptides, and of course, just proper nutrition, making sure I've got enough, I'm eating enough calories and I'm eating enough protein. And so I'm supplying nutrients to the area, because you can't fix something if you got nothing to fix it with. And so, yeah, I think the combination of all of them is really speeding this healing process. So Rob Harrell, what have you seen using them? Oh, if you have cancer, of course, always consult your physician first. It does seem, and again, I mean, it's really hard to say. I just right off the bat, and not knowing what any of the studies might be. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and that's a hot potato I don't want to touch, and so I'll say check with your physician first. What would come to mind is that the last thing you necessarily want to do is actually start to develop, build more blood vessels to something, especially if there's, a cancer cell involved. And so just definitely that's something you might want to check out with your doc. So Lisa Marie, what's up? She says, what brand of peptides do you use? I get mine from ThriveLab. And I do get blends. Yes, and they have several different kinds of blends. Shine, if you actually, you know what? Let me pull up my links real quick so I can drop links in here for you guys also, if you are curious. And so I will drop that in here for you. There you go. Boom. And that's where I go to get my peptides. And that's also where I do my HRT. And that's also the docs that I actually get my tirzepatide from as well. So guys, I'm all in on peptides, on this whole longevity, reduction of inflammation. I mean, like, this has been a really exciting journey so far, and I'm super excited about it. Okay. Let me see. I'm looking for more questions here. And I actually have some questions for you guys as well. Oh, Mandy says, are you curious if we're going to restock the Hydration Boost cherry candy flavor? Okay, Mandy, you're not alone. I wish if you could see how many people ask that one about the cherry candy hydration. It is a delicious flavor. I know. Let me check with the team over there, because I don't know if they're everything, like, kind of they cycle through it in seasons. So let me see. Sonia, will I ever do another weight loss show? And if so, under what pretenses? Sonia, stay tuned, my friend. There's some fun stuff that we're actually working on right now. And so, it's, the whole thing though, the whole landscape, obviously, for weight loss has changed significantly, but nevertheless, there are millions, and we're talking, I mean, tens of millions of Americans that still are looking to transform with the proper guidance. And so I think there's an absolute need for this. And so, yeah, there's some really there's always a great opportunity. Fortunately, I've got some wonderful connections with, people in production networks, etc. So there's been talks for quite some time, but who knows? Maybe 2026 is going to be the year. We'll see. We will see, my friend. Okay. Let me see. What else do we have here? Crystal says she likes to wear her weighted vest while doing her housework. I couldn't agree with you more. I love the whole concept of weighted vests. Guys, it's sound. And if you think about it, it's beautiful common sense. You put a weighted vest on, and what does it do? Well, it's loading all the muscles below it, right? So all of your core muscles, but even more importantly, all of your lower body muscles, your glutes, your quads, and your hamstrings. So every step that you take, the muscle contraction, in order to support that extra weight, is a little bit deeper. A deeper muscle contraction, what does that equal? It equals greater calorie burn. And so again, it's like you might throw a 20-pound vest on, 15-pound vest, 10-pound vest, whatever it is. But every step that you take is your, again, deeper contraction, more calorie burn, more blood getting pumped, more lymphatic fluid getting pumped, because the lymphatic system piggybacks off our muscular system. And so it's like, it is absolutely wonderful. I'm a huge fan of weighted vests. Apologies, I got a little cough, guys. It's that time of year, and kids, they carry super germs, and so they brought all this in. Yo, Wendy Fortino, hello, my friend. Good to see you on here. What's up? Okay. Let me see. What else do we have on here? Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions? Here we go. Kathy says, what can I do for poor circulation in my legs other than getting veins stripped? Any kind of supplementation that might help or anything else? Poor circulation. Kathy, I'm very curious as to how active you are. Obviously, the more we can get that muscular, that lower body contraction in those lower body muscles, I mean, that's going to be extremely beneficial because that's going to force blood to be pushed through the biggest muscles of the body. And so if you don't mind, I would love to know if you're currently very active or if your lifestyle is relatively sedentary. That can make a really, really big difference. But at the same time, also, that is a medical condition. And so which is out of my scope of practice. And so I'm always going to have to lean on your physician, your primary care, or whatever specialist they would send you to, who could really help you because they know your condition better than anybody else. Okay, here we go. Let me see. How can I stay? Here we go. Oh, Lorene, what can I do? I'm nursing a back and neck injury as well. Holy smokes, my friend. You and me both. Went for an incline walk on your treadmill and outside. Wonderful. Ooh, it set you back a few days. All right. How about this? So I'm curious as to if it was the incline walk that sent you back, because I don't know about you, but when I'm on an incline walk, it causes me to pike forward. And so it actually exacerbates when I'm incline walking. And I had a bad lower back for years. And then I end up getting stem cells, which was a game changer, stem cell injection into my lower back. Again, really, really significantly improved my condition. But for about 16 years or so, if I was piked forward on an incline treadmill, which I did a lot of that, especially in my bodybuilding days, man, my lower back would fire up. And even, especially now understanding a good neck injury, if I'm piked forward, it hurts. Walking outside, though, I can stand upright, engage my core, and my lower back and my neck don't hurt. So, Lorene, I'm very curious as to if it was the incline walk that did you in, or if it was the outside walk. When my back and neck are fired up, I avoid an incline again because I avoid that piked forward position. So, nothing will beat walking. I'm telling you, it's absolutely incredible. However, if you can't walk, if you've got access to a bike, some sort of cycle, or if you got access, it would be really incredible. Also, is a pool or any other kind of, the key is just to find something that you could do to move around. However, also, let's keep in mind, my friends, that it's in the bouts of movement that we do, like bouts of exercise, that burns a fraction of the calories that we do simply being more active around the house every day. The more we fidget, the more we move, the more we're shifting back and forth, the more we're tapping our feet. Guys, that burns like 3 times more calories than a concentrated bout of exercise. They're both great for us, right? So I just want to make sure that we understand that. But yeah, it's going to be, it's those little bits of movement, just like constantly fidgeting throughout the day. That is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's the steps that you're getting every day. L Bell, can you take creatine with coffee? Absolutely, you can. You can take creatine however you like to take your creatine. And right now, remember, muscles are super greedy, so they're going to take your first 5 to 10 grams. But when the muscles are satisfied with their creatine, then they will tend to share a little bit more so you can get more up to the brain. So they're finding that, upwards of 15 grams, even some of the studies have been upwards of 20, 25, even 30 grams of creatine. However, that can cause gastric distress. So be careful. I've actually toned my creatine down to about 10 to 15 grams a day, and it seems to be a sweet spot for me. I'm good with that. If I'm ever sleep deprived or jet lagged, then I will do a single bout of sometimes 20 grams if I have to perform, if I have to be on. And so creatine, again, seems to be a really incredible new tool that a lot of people are using for all the right reasons. And it's the most studied ergogenic aid in history. And everything that they continue to seem to find out about it is super positive. So it's turning into be an amazing tool that we can use at all ages of life and for many uses. Lorene, as I suspected, the incline made it worse. Absolutely. Avoid the incline, walk outside. And by the way, there's nothing better for your mental health than walking outside. That's going to be huge. So, yep, just stay away from that incline right now until you can get that back taken care of. Alex, yes, herniated. I do have a herniated disc in my lower back. It's my L5S1 is herniated. L4, L5 is bulging. That happened in 2006. And back then it took me on a really horrible downward spiral where I got hooked on painkillers for 2 years. It started with Vicodin, turned into Percocet, Oxycontin, morphine, anything I could get my hands on. I ended up losing everything and living out of my car. So a back injury really sent me into a horrible downward spiral in life. And it was probably one of the worst and best things that could have ever happened, because it was also then I had a realization that, I woke up on a friend's couch one day because I didn't have a place to live and I was just couch surfing. And I realized that I was really busy at the time pointing the finger at everybody else. And it was the first time in my life I just had to take extreme ownership for my decisions. And that's when my life changed. And I realized I put myself in a horrible position and there's only one person that's going to get me out. And that's me. And then I ended up slowly crawling out of it. And, but I still lived with back pain for 17 years or so. And then, but I got stem cells. I got a stem cell injection over the summer that significantly, for the first time in 17 years, it reduced the pain and it was really a game changer for me. So that was huge. Sonia's journey. I did win some bodybuilding shows. I actually got my pro card of all things. And it was a beautiful journey. I lived in, guys, I was in CrossFit for the longest time and I absolutely loved CrossFit. I did CrossFit for like 6 to 7 years, did a couple competitions with some really good CrossFit athletes. And that was a humbling experience. And I moved from CrossFit into bodybuilding because I got a little bit banged up in CrossFit. So bodybuilding seemed a little bit more forgiving. And I got to go on a beautiful journey there, exploring my body and how to manipulate it. And then I moved from bodybuilding really into longevity and wellness. And especially as I've moved into, and I'm in my 40s now, and I'm in my late 40s at 47. So I'm on this never ending quest to just, seek mental clarity, focus, energy, but maintain my strength and my muscle and reduce inflammation. And I mean, this is where everything seems to be really, really exciting nowadays with everything that's coming out and what we have available to us now with peptides. It's really awesome. And then of course the science, even of training, has changed significantly of like how we can train to maintain our muscle or even maximize muscle growth, but in the least amount of time and with the least amount of effort. And so if I could take what I know now and go back 30 years, I would have saved myself a lot of time and energy. But that's kind of what I'm here to share with you guys now, is everything I learn. I just want to pass it on to all of you. Okay. Let me see. Oh, we're doing good here. Lisa Marie likes to walk on her rest days. What are my thoughts on active recovery? I'm all about active recovery. Walking, massage, percussion therapy, Epsom salt baths, all of the above. That's wonderful. Lots of stretching. Active recovery, I think, is, because the thing is, sometimes a rest day doesn't mean you just lay there and just not do anything. No, it's all about active recovery. I think it's far more beneficial than just literally laying there completely static, frozen. So I'm all about it. Okay. Michael says, how much would I charge to go live with you? Buddy, my prices have gone up over the years. That's for sure. So but here's the thing. Guys, like all of us, it's so hard. I don't do any negotiating for myself. I've got a wonderful friend who lists all my prices and everything, because I simply cannot charge someone what the going rate would be. And so that's also why I'm on a never ending quest to build programs for lots of people so that I can serve a lot of people rather than one, because if all the time and energy goes into one, it's not fair to you or to also to a lot of the people that I really want to help. I like to help build systems. And then I love doing this more than anything and connecting with a lot of people. And when you connect with me with your questions, and if I feel like I can at least give you the best answer I could possibly give with my experience or my education and my passion, that's what I love to do. So, but great question. um, but maybe one of these days I might open up like a VIP list of and have some one-on-one clients. Um, all right. Let me see. Looking for some more questions. There's some really good ones in here. Let me see. Ariel, thank you. I appreciate it. There's quite a few interviews out there about my journey, and I've been through a crazy ride in life. I mean, and it certainly didn't stop after my opioid addiction, which was a huge turning point in my life, because I mean, it was a year and a half after I was sober. And by the way, to this day, I still will absolutely never do another opioid in my life. I can't, because I really like them way too much, and it would be a slippery slope. And so it's something I can never go down that path again. But I've certainly been on quite a journey since, not with drugs or anything like that, but just with I mean, within a year and a half, I was hosting a TV show, and that was being shown to audiences around the world. And then, married and kids, and, at one point it was like top of the world, and then it was massive heartbreak, and then it was things falling apart. And so the journey certainly didn't end there. And who knows where I'm going to go from here. But, I went through some really difficult times, guys, and some dark times. And I was on at the lowest point when everything was falling apart, with my family and the relationship and everything. I was on antidepressants, and I went through a really, really dark time. And I was open about it. I even did a Good Morning America story on it, just because I figured I would share it as I was slowly coming out of it, just in hopes that, it could connect with other people who might be going through the same thing. Cause they always saw the best part of me, right? Which is what social media does so well, and media. And so I just wanted to share the other side of that journey. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot, and it feels good to be coming out on the other side of that. And of course, and doing the thing that I love to do, and it's help people, help people transform. So hopefully, help them, support them on their journey of transformation. So, Heidi's got a great question. What motivates you to do stuff you really don't want to do, but you must? It's a really good question. And this is actually one of the most important things that I ever that kind of dawned on me a while ago. And actually it's not a discovery. I actually came across this working with my people on the show, but was the fact that, and not to, this isn't a play on words, but our words are so powerful. And a lot of times we think, I have to lose the weight. I have to do this. I have to do that. But the reality of it is that you don't have to do anything. And so it's easy to say, I must do this, but you don't. And also motivation, it is so fleeting. It will come and go. So you cannot rely on motivation, because you will never be, future you will not be more motivated than you right now. Just won't. There will be times where you might be inspired by something, or you get some new gym clothes or playlist, or some cooking gear. You're inspired to do something. You're motivated in a moment, but it'll pass. You don't have to do anything. And so one of the best things you can actually start to do, and this is actually what kind of it helped create the approach that I like to take to transformation for everyone, is the whole concept of just setting one promise that you would keep to yourself, and then following through with that promise day after day after day. And what you'll do is you'll actually start to build momentum. And with momentum, you build belief in yourself. And then with your belief in yourself, and that's something that it's like a freight train of momentum. And there's a lot of lessons around this, right? It's never going to be done perfectly. And then you learn how to pick yourself back up, because you're going to fall, and all these different things where you're not going to keep a promise to yourself. So what you do is, if the mountain looks too big to climb, then you literally have to shrink everything down to just focusing on the first step. And then once you take that first step, because remember, motivation doesn't drive movement. Movement drives motivation. Please remember that, everybody. And by the way, that's neuroscience. It's actually the way that our brains are wired. Our brains are wired to stay comfortable. And so if you don't move, you won't move. And it's only when you physically move, you take a step towards something. That is actually when the brain is also wired. Once it's in motion, it wants to stay in motion. Movement drives motivation. So you will never be able to sit there and think, and if you try to wait for the motivation, you'll wait forever. It will never happen. It won't. And you don't have to do the thing that you don't want to do. You don't have to. However, if you believe that there's a better life for you, that you're capable of more, then eventually you're going to reach a point where you're going to have to want to do it. Even though you don't necessarily, you think it's not going to be enjoyable, you're still going to need to want to do it, because that is going to be less painful than what you're doing right now. And that will also lead to a much better life for you. So the moment you start to believe, then that's what can drive you into motion. And once you're in motion, don't take my word for it. You'll stay in motion and you'll keep moving. It's really powerful. It's really, really powerful. So I hope that helps. Remember, guys, again, motivation doesn't drive movement. If you're going to wait for motivation, and I'm going to say that again, you ain't going to go anywhere. Movement drives motivation. And then once you start moving, you're going to keep moving. Okay. Here we go. Oh, wow. Okay, guys. And here's the catch. Time's flying. I actually have to jump a little bit early today because I have got a meeting, super fun meeting with the wellness coordinators of most of the cities here in the state of Arizona, which is actually quite a few of the cities. I won't say all of them, but about 25 or 30 cities. And so meeting with all the wellness coordinators, and really great group of people, and they're all passionate about changing their cities. And so it's going to be a super fun one. So I'm going to have to jump a little bit early, and then we're going to be do a fun little meeting of the minds. Rest assured, though, really quick, we are going to do a giveaway because Shine, my social media manager, she's on here right now watching. So yes, as we do every single Monday, I didn't post about it in time, but yeah, we're going to be giving away the Deliciously Fit recipe book, which comes with the Beginner's Guide to Carb Cycling now. It teaches you how to take all the recipes and carb cycle them for results, along with a membership on the Kept app. So yes. As usual, we're always going to be doing a giveaway here. So thank you guys for participating. It's like so many of these great questions that y'all are dropping in here. These are absolutely amazing. Okay. And then on top of that, let me see, what else did I have to, it's funny, guys. I actually put together a whole slide deck of questions for you and all this interactive stuff, but we were on such fire with these great questions. let me see if I can just, we're going to go rapid rounds on some of these questions real fast. Here we go. Eve says, I'm doing my first High Rocks on December 21st. Amazing. Any advice leading up to the event? Yeah. Don't try to change your program. I'd say if you've been training, eating a certain way, sleeping a certain way, training a certain way, don't try to change it beforehand. However, leading up into the event, I'd say 3 days prior, if you have a coach who's taking you through it, follow their advice. But typically for big events like this, you want to start tapering off sometime about 5-6 days prior, where it's just the workouts are not nearly as intense. At least the next 3 days prior is where I really like to taper off the intensity. And then also load up on your pasta, your rice, your potatoes, all that, if that is something that your body can handle and that you do consume those on a regular basis. But it's okay to eat a little bit more, a few more potatoes, a little more pasta, a little more cereal, get those carbs in so that your glycogen stores are topped off and they're ready to work for you. That's what I love to do. I've worked with a few people through some big CrossFit competitions, and they'll post some pretty monster PRs, because of adrenaline, but also when their fuel stores are completely topped off, you just go and go and go. So it's a ton of fun. Darius, what are some common reasons that someone might plateau for a few months on their fat loss journey? Okay, well, obviously, number one, you're going to plateau due to when you're at a calorie deficit. Keep this in mind. Your body subconsciously moves less. Most people don't realize that. And so you fidget less, right? You step less. You don't, but it's completely subconscious. You don't realize it. When you eat more, you move more, you fidget more. The human body is brilliant and it works completely on autopilot. So keep that in mind. One of the best ways that you can actually offset that is setting a step goal and increasing your steps as you decrease your calories. Because again, the body will move less. There's also metabolic adaptation in that your body will start to take energy away from other systems of your body, like your immune system and your reproductive system. Those are two of the main ones that your body's going to start stealing energy from. So people that chronically diet a lot, they get sick all the time because their immune systems, it's pulling energy away from the immune system. So your body's going to do all these things to try to actually drive its metabolic expenditure out, right? Because you're burning calories, you're taking in so many, deficit forces weight loss. So you might not realize it. And what was getting you results once before, now you're not moving as much. You've taken energy from your immune system. You've taken energy away from your reproductive system. You've lost a little bit of muscle. And so guess what? You might be at maintenance. It might be time to recheck your calories again. A few other things. If you're not tracking, a lot of times when you're eyeballing your food, your portions start to go up. So now instead of this happening, which this is probably happening, this might also be happening where you're eating a little bit more. Anytime the body's at a calorie deficit, hunger happens. And so again, you might not realize it, but you might just be hungry. You might find yourself snacking a little bit more here and there. If you are doing cardio, that also like higher intensity cardio, it's a massive stimulus for hunger and cravings. And so be careful. I dial back your high intensity cardio, stick to mostly steps. That's going to be huge. Another thing is also when you're at a calorie deficit for a long period of time, that's stressful. Your body releases a lot of cortisol. Cortisol also increases water retention. So you'll carry a lot more water when you're at a deficit. The magic is still happening though. I tell this to my peeps in the collective all the time. If you're at a calorie deficit and you don't see the number on the scale, the magic is still happening under the surface. Give it some time. And a lot of times when your body needs it, when you can take it up to what's called a diet break, where you simply consume maintenance for a prolonged period of time, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you can release, all of a sudden your body can rest and relax. You release a lot of water and you see all the work that you've been doing all along. It's just hard to see it because you're bloated with water. You're retaining all this water from all the stress. So, and it happens. It's just a calorie deficit is stressful on the body. And so your body's got the mechanisms to protect it that way. Okay. I hope that really helps. Oh my gosh. This is amazing, guys. Tropical Storm 808. Let me see. Am I doing a carb cycling challenge next month? I will be, but it's going to be a slightly different version of it. And so we're working on some really fun stuff right now. Stay tuned for the announcement of it. It will be coming. But rest assured, if anyone wants to jump in and do an actual challenge, we're going to be launching something really, really fun for everybody in the new year. And so you can join along, and this is going to be life-changing for a lot of people. We're swinging for the fences on this one, guys. It's going to be big, and it's going to be support like you've never seen before. Okay, my friends, I got to rock and roll. I've got a wellness meeting to run to. Thank you all for participating. I love you guys. Have a great week. So many incredible questions I didn't get to. Please bring them next week. Next Monday, same time, same place. We'll be here. Let's rock and roll. All right. Love you guys. See ya.